24 hours later, Sam calls me, says, hey, CZ, can we talk? Okay, and then he says, well, I thought he was going to do an OTC deal, right? I thought he was going to ask, hey, CZ, why don't we do an OTC deal? Then we can put all the negative comments out, then confidence is restored. I thought he wanted to do that. But instead, he just said, look, we have much bigger troubles. I said, look, we don't want users to be hurt, and we want to protect the users. So the deal, to be honest, I can't comment on any specifics on the deals, but from our perspective, the deal did not make sense from a number of fronts. From a financial perspective, is a big hole. From new users, FTX, we have very high overlap. We cover all the regions they cover, and they have much less users than us. From a technology or product perspective, I think we have a superior product. They don't have anything that we don't have. So our original intention was let's save the users. But then the news of misappropriating user funds, and especially US regulatory agencies' investigations, we also remove any uncertainty or doubt in the community, because as you can see, when the deal was going on, the deal was happening, the crypto was dropping. Uncertainty is actually worse than negative news.
Prices of digital currencies keep falling as the market is still trying to understand what happened with the giant FTX being one of the biggest exchanges with the most capital involved collapsing like that and putting people's assets in danger creates a lot more uncertainty in the crypto space, which many already consider one of the riskiest sectors to invest. There's blood on the streets now, and the biggest question is whether we will recover from that event. So to help us understand what happened and what's coming next, today we will have Changpeng Zhao, the CEO of Binance, answer the questions everyone has. Pay close attention as he will explain if this is 2008's financial crisis happening all over again and if there's still an opportunity to grow and profit with crypto. Also, CZ will tell you what happened in his private call with Sam Bankman-Fried and his current position on this subject.
I think we just seen another very big player going down. A few months ago, there was Luna, 3 Arrows. Luna was big, 3 Arrows was smaller, and then with Celsius, Voyager, they're even smaller. But then FTX is big. So with such a big player going down, I think we're seeing $30–40 billion of value that's in FTX valuation that was before that they raised that. Plus quite a few $1 billion of user funds that's kind of gone. So with this type of events happening, it's devastating for the industry. So a lot of consumer confidence is shaken, and I think basically we've been set back a few years. Now regulators rightfully will scrutinize this industry much harder, which is probably a good thing, to be honest. I think now, before the regulations are much more focused on KYC and AML, I've always been saying, look, you got to focus on the exchange operations. Business models, proof of reserves, where the user funds. So I think we'll come into a lot more scrutiny on those fronts. But actually, that's good for the industry. Short term is very painful for a lot of retail investors. That's on FTX, etc. But we feel that pain. But longer term, I think this is another wake-up call to say, hey, look, we're in a new industry. There's a lot of risks, and we need to learn how to deal with those risks and how to build a much healthier industry. So I think the last 3 days is just a revelation of problems. The problems were there way longer, right? So like this problem wasn't created in the last 3 days. So basically, we have an exchange. Well, FTX is misappropriating user funds. They were taking user funds to do other things. I think the trigger was like a week ago. There was a CoinDesk article. And then my team says, well, hey, CZ, we still have this, we still have a lot of FTT coins. Like, what? Should we sell it? Sure, why not? So the next day, there was a big transaction reported by Where Alerts saying that like $580 million worth of FTT was transferred to Binance.com. And my team said, CZ, this is our transfer. I was like, well, really, you sure? He said, yeah, he's sure. And should we be, there was discussions in the community. and should we be transparent about it? It's like, yeah, sure, we should be transparent about it. And then he said, CZ, you should write a tweet because we don't, like what we call the interns, our PR team says we don't really know how to write this particular one. This is quite sensitive. So I was actually just going out to meet two of my friends who actually also came to Indonesia now. I was on my way out to meet with them, and then so I just wrote a tweet in a few minutes. But I wanted to explain like how do we have this much, right? So we can't just have $580 million worth of FTT all of a sudden. We got it. We didn't buy it from secondary markets. We got it as a transaction of our exit, equity exit out of FTX a year and a half ago, which was publicly reported. So I said that, and then I didn't know my phone will blow up like over the rest of the evening.
With FTX using users' funds in a non-ethical and probably illegal way, how safe are we from that happening again in the future? Is this the time for regulators to finally step in and make crypto a more controlled environment, which no one ever wanted in the first place, to make it safer for new big players to come and invest real money?
Regulators are definitely needed. I don't think our society is advanced enough to live in a world without rules. So once we have rules, then that's what regulations are. Somebody have to make some rules. So, but doesn't mean all the rules are good. It doesn't mean all the rules are bad. So good rules are good, bad rules are bad. The rules need to be sensible. If the rule says, hey, we're just going to ban crypto altogether in Indonesia, that's one type of rule. I think that's obviously going to be bad. If we say anything goes, that's also not so good in general. There will be a lot of scammers, a lot of guys doing business in a bad way and cause a lot of damage. So we need to find the balance. So it's not an easy task. So that's on the regulation side. And then on the crypto side, with people holding their own assets, be their own bank, I think eventually the technology will get there. But today, it's not easy. Today, technically, you can. The technology is there, but it's just not easy to use. It's not easy for an average person to say, hey, I'm going to save my private keys, have multiple copies of backups. So if I lose my computer, if I lose my hardware wallet, I can restore it. And worst case is, but we all die. So if I'm no longer around, how does my kids inherit it? Most people, with the tools today, we can do it, but it's just not very easy. 99% of people don't know how to do it. 99% of people probably do not even know how to securely encrypt a USB backup, right? So we need to make the tools easier. Once we have those tools, then more and more, as the tools become easier to use while being very secure, more and more people will shift to that.
What should be their focus now?
So I think that's absolutely going to be like where the focus is for the next little while, which is right. We learn from our mistakes. So a week ago, before that, they were looking at loans because all the loan companies had issues. But given the most recent revelations, I think people are going to be much more focused on user assets. So I think that's going to be the next little period that's going to be the focus. Going forward, there's still many other things like wallet security. How do you secure how do you do security as a large exchange? How do you handle customer disputes?
Yeah.
Do you allow ICOs or not in your country? There's a lot of things to decide. So, but I think the next focus is definitely on user asset security. Yeah.
But how was Binance CEO involved with this situation, and could he do anything to prevent it? Did you know that CZ had a phone call with Sam about this? Let's hear what happened.
24 hours later, Sam calls me and says, hey, CZ, can we talk? Okay. And then he says, well, I thought he was going to do an OTC deal, right? I thought he was going to ask, hey, CZ, why don't we do an OTC deal? Then we can put all the negative comments out, then confidence is restored. I thought he wanted to do that. But instead, he just said, look, we have much bigger troubles. I said, look, we don't want users to be hurt, and we want to protect the users. So the deal, to be honest, I can't comment on any specifics on the deals, but from our perspective, the deal did not make sense from a number of fronts. From a financial perspective, is a big hole. From new users, FTX, we have very high overlap. We cover all the regions they cover, and they have much less users than us. From a technology or product perspective, I think we have a superior product. They don't have anything that we don't have. So our original intention was to let's save the users. But then the news of misappropriating user funds and especially US regulatory agencies' investigations, we're like, okay, we can't touch that anymore. So, and then we said, look, and then as soon as I understood we couldn't touch it anymore, I said, let's make that announcement as quickly as possible because we don't want to do a slow no. If we're going to do a no, we do a quick no. That's one of my principles in business. So then this way we don't drag on for a long time, and then we also remove any uncertainty or doubt in the community because, as you can see, when the deal was going on, the deal was happening, the crypto was dropping. Uncertainty is actually worse than negative news. As one of the largest players in the industry, we have to lead by example. So I think the number one thing we have to do is being much, much more transparent. So anything we can do to increase transparency, we need to do. So proof of reserves. Proof of reserves is going to take a couple of weeks, mainly due to the vendor being very busy. We're like, okay, let's do that, but before that, let's publish all of our cold wallet addresses. They were pretty public before anyway, so we published yesterday 6 top coins, which covers actually 80-90% of the user funds. So now people can see on one page which addresses are the cold wallets. Anything that we can do to improve transparency. And I think we also want to educate regulators all around the world. How do you do audits on crypto exchanges? Not just KYC, ML, which is important, but how do you check the cold wallets? How do you do user balance reconciliations? How do you check transaction logs? How do you use on-chain monitoring tools to do this? So all of these things we do internally. We do real-time reconciliations across multiple aspects so that we can try to, and if any balance goes off, we get alerted in real time. So should we make those kind of systems public? I think all of these things we need to do as an industry, which actually, on the long term, I think will make the industry much healthier.
So with all this in mind, what's happening now, and what can we expect in the future?
I think today is definitely consolidation, especially given that FTX just went down. So they're like the 4th or 5th largest exchange in the world. So now they're gone. So now there's definitely consolidation. In a bear market, we see severe consolidations, and also with FTX going down, we will see cascading effects, right? So I think BlockFi is now bankrupt again. I think Voyager deal is going to be, I don't know what's going to happen there. FTX won the bid, but for $1.4 billion, but obviously they won't have the money to pay for that. So they will probably have a second hit. A few other projects going to be in similar situations. And I think it will take a couple of weeks for most of them to come out. So so right now there's definitely consolidation. At the beginning of 2021, I would not have said NFTs or GameFi. At the beginning of 2020, I would not have said DeFi. At the beginning of 2017, I would not have said ICOs. But no, 6 months later, all of those things happened in each of those years.
That's right.
So looking forward is very hard to predict. So we just have to wait and see. We need to wait to see what's taking off and then try to help it. So for example, today, I don't know what metaverse really means, and I don't think anybody really knows. It's a hard word, but nobody knows what it really looks like. But if a platform actually in the metaverse space actually takes off, gaining users, we should support it, right? So we should we should help them any way we can. If they need investments, if they're launching tokens that needs liquidity, we should list it. So we need to identify. We're looking for trends. We're not predicting ones.
And to close in, with this huge step back in the investors' trust, CZ also goes on the entrepreneurial side. Is this an opportunity for other companies to come in and replace FTX? Will money keep coming in to fund them?
Some of the smaller exchanges might see this as an opportunity because now there's one less, bigger player up there. So there may actually be more people wanting to start exchanges. And I think the builders who are building projects, I think Solana ecosystem is quite negatively affected. So I think many of those developers might want to migrate to other blockchains, et cetera, or looking at different options. And BNB chain is one option. There's many other blockchains in the ecosystem, and even just Solana, we would love to help them. The builders will continue to build, but it's especially for those close to the FTX ecosystem, they will be more negatively affected. But at the same there will also be less money coming in, or at least slower, short term coming in slower. But the technology is not going away, right? So it's like the internet is not going away, blockchain is not going away. So we will recover from this, and there will be more. In a decentralized industry, when one player goes down, it causes a lot of pain, but other players will come in very quickly and feel it. And those new players that feel it will be stronger ones, right? So there'll be more competition. So the market takes care, the market will heal. The market will heal itself.
As always, we hope you took value out of this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and share it with people around you who need updates on the current situation in the crypto space. Thanks.